Yeah. So Jigar, this is the first orientation lecture, right? So I
Okay.
will be introducing you the what we are going to be, learn in this PLC, HMI, and SCADA training. Okay. So
Okay.
mainly as per your requirement is uh, probably the Allen Bradley, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So first of all, let me try to understand what is the knowledge right now you are having regarding the industrial automation. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And
Okay.
in that case you can explain you what kind of things you did and what kind of things you know right now in this field. Okay. So
Okay.
yeah, you can start now, no problem. Okay, so that I can understand what kind of level at you are right now. So accordingly, I will teach you and align my entire course structure. Okay.
Okay. So basically, still now I'm working in a pharmaceutical company. They make medical devices
Hmm.
like syringe type, what says it's a devices, not a medicine inside, just a
Okay,
plastic.
syringe. Okay, got it.
Yeah. So it's I'm working as a machine operator, and it's all like just to operate the machine only, no any interfere with the
Hmm.
uh, like technical issue or troubleshooting or anything.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's why I have no any experience about how to PLC work, how to HMI to like design or configuring something inside.
Okay.
Yeah,
Fine. Fine.
uh, yeah. So in automation, I have no any more knowledge about it. I just watch YouTube video and see how to progress in this career.
Perfect. Perfect. Okay. So I got your point now. Okay. So we need to start from basic, right?
Yeah.
And slowly and gently we need to we need to start our intermediate sessions, then need to go for some kind of advanced sessions, right? So
Okay.
let's start from let's start a gen means let's first of all understand what kind of basics you need to you need to go through in the industrial automation, right? So
Mm-hmm.
in that case I have created one ebook, right? And that
Mm-hmm.
book, if you read, first of all, in this lecture, I will go through this book in front of you, okay, and I will explain you what kind of basics you need to understand before going to the industrial automation field. Okay,
Okay.
industrial automation field is the field that is nothing but there is a lot more than only the PLC programming. Okay, so there is not
Yeah.
only a PLC; it can be a robotics as well. It can be a IT/OT integration as well. It can be a cyber security, it can be a manufacturing execution system, it can be a distributed control system like DCS. Okay, so there are
Mm-hmm.
different verticals as well. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
in the sense of vertical means so one vertical is a pharmaceutical, another is
Mm-hmm.
a food and beverages, then oil and gas, then robotics, then automobile sector, okay, then chemical sector, then steel plants, then airport industry. Okay, so in the
Yeah.
industrial automation this kind of industries are exist. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so first of all, let me share one screen and I will explain you my book so that you can read later on and understand what kind of basic concepts that you need to learn first of all within 1 or 2 days, so you can
Mm-hmm.
start working with the softwares and learn what kind of devices are there in the industrial automation. First of all, let
Okay.
me open that. Uh, You just acknowledge me if you see my screen. I just shared the screen.
Okay, I can see it.
Okay. So this ebook has been written by me, okay, and the name
Uh-huh.
is Essential for Industrial Automation, okay. So this ebook is
Okay.
specially designed who is going to be start as a fresher in the industrial automation. It can be applicable for like you guys, or it can be applicable for college pass outs, or who is inside the college right now, who is at the last year of the college, okay. So
Mm-hmm.
typically, this book is a way to put your foot in the industrial automation, right? So it is a first
Mm-hmm.
step in your industrial automation. So now, what kind of contents we are going to be cover over here is what is the industrial automation, what kind of degree or skills you require. Then the third
Mm-hmm.
point is what kind of instruments used in the industrial automation. Instruments in the sense of power supply, field devices like transmitters, push buttons, digital switches like valves, pumps, motors. Okay, so this kind of
Yeah.
instruments. Then what is the power supply unit, then what is PLC, then what kind of input types, what kind of output types, and what kind of programming concepts. So this
Mm-hmm.
7 to 8 basic stuffs that we'll understand first, okay. So now, what is the
Mm-hmm.
industrial automation actually, right? So the industrial automation, that means anything, it is automatic, means you will start first of all as a general introduction of automation. So uh, what do you mean by industrial automation, right? So industrial
Yeah.
automation is something which helps to produce the things automatically. So that means whatever is the paperwork you are doing, that can be done automatically by PLC. Now, for
Mm-hmm.
example, pick and place, right? So the robot can pick one thing and place that thing inside one of the bucket. So a human can do that manually, or machine can do that manually. Okay. So in the robotic sector, it is automation, right? So now in a pharma sector, for example, if you do the coating of your tablets, so human can do the coating of the tablets, or machine can do the coating of the tablets, right? If the human can do, so there may be a chance for a higher coating or lower coating, but if the machine is doing, then there will be a less chance to do the inaccurate coating of the machine, or of the tablet, right? So anything
Yeah.
which can be automated, it is automation, right? So it's a normal thing, no need to uh, you know deep dive into it. But yeah, so right now,
Yeah.
as per your knowledge, you are in a pharmaceutical background, okay.
Yeah.
But industries like chocolate, pharma, packaging, printing, food, machine manufacturing industry, airport industry, oil and gas, water treatment plants, and chemical industry. Any sector you can go if you are in the industrial automation field, right?
Yeah.
So let me give you some kind of example. So chocolate industry, right? Chocolate means chocolate making companies. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
like the different kind of chocolates. So they have a big plants in the different cities, or in the different countries. Okay, so they are using
Yeah.
PLCs, HMI, SCADA very extensively. Okay, so these all industries are using PLC, HMI, and SCADA very extensively. And the main two or three kind of PLCs they are using. First is a Siemens, the second is a Rockwell, or sorry, Allen Bradley, and the third one, it can be a Snyder, or
Yeah.
different make of PLCs,
Mitsubishi.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Mitsubishi's and
Yeah.
other things. Then so majorly in all over world, Siemens and Allen Bradley is a
Yeah. Top
leaders
one.
in the industrial automation, right? So if you
Yeah.
learn Allen Bradley, or if you learn Siemens, so it will be good opportunity for you in future, right, to get a job.
Yeah.
So like pharma industry means, in the pharma industry, it can be a different verticals. One is a solid line, one is a liquid line. Solid line means, like tablet coating machines, like high shear mixture granulator machines. Liquid line means you are going to be uh, create injections, right? So it's a injection
Mm-hmm.
filling machines, insulins are there. So this kind of industries are also using PLC, HMI, and SCADA. But if you talk about chocolate industry, means food industry and pharma industry, regulations are required. Okay, so regulations in the sense of US FDA, okay, 21 CFR
Mm-hmm.
Part 11. So some kind of
mm,
documentation or each and everything need to be documented. So that kind of regulations are required in the food and pharma industry. So you should have a different kind of knowledge, and you should have a very accurate knowledge about the regulations if you are in the industrial automation field regarding food and beverages or pharmaceuticals. Like packaging
yeah,
means, packing of the any of the product. Printing means printing any of the product or any of the clothes. Food machine manufacturing industry means any industry who is creating the machines in
yeah,
the sense of who is developing the machines, right? For example, some industries are just a service provider to the other
mm-hmm,
companies. Some industries are the machine provider to the other companies. So there are two different things in the industrial automation. First one is a service provider, and the other one is a actual product developer, right? Product developer
yeah,
means machine manufacturer. Okay.
yeah,
So after learning PLC, HMI, and SCADA, you can tap these two kind of industries. One is a service and one is a product. Okay.
yeah,
So now then if you go for a airport, so inside the airport, can you see the baggage handling system? In that conveyor,
yeah,
our baggage are going on.
yeah,
So that can be controlled by our PLCs, HMIs, and SCADA. Okay. So
yeah,
yeah. So in that case, it's very important to understand. Okay, in which industries
mm-hmm,
our products are using, means our industrial automation products are using. So airport is one of the major sector. Oil and gas, right? So
yeah,
in different
yeah,
countries like Dubai, Saudi Arabia, and other Gulf countries, okay, petrochemical plants are there. So
mm-hmm,
they are just creating, or they are just doing some kind of filtrations with respect to the oils and petrols and other things, right? So oil and gas industry is very
yeah,
vast industry they are using. Then water treatment plant, okay, so the plants which is located near to the sea, so they are filtering the waters from the sea and to make it usable for the other industries. So
mm-hmm,
water is going to be treated, or water treatment or water filtrations plants are there. So in the water filtration plants, generally the Siemens and LNW PLCs are using. Yeah. Then the last one is a
yeah,
chemical plant. So yeah, so this kind of industries are using very extensively our industrial products, right? So now which degree is required?
yeah,
So there is no need to discuss which degree is required because you already aware, right? So
yeah,
okay, now okay. So this is very much important. Which instruments are used in the industrial automation? So now can you tell me how you experienced inside your job, okay, into your job, which kind of instruments you observe during your job work? It can be a transmitter, it can be a PLC, it can be a power supply unit. Okay, which can you tell me which kind of instruments you are observing in you into your job?
okay. Like as a machine operator, we have to see like first of all the HMI uh, and some sensor like a vision sensor. They use a cameras
Hmm.
and some kind of sensors.
Okay.
Then PLC also, but PLC we can't see what kind of PLC they use. But most probably the Aaron Bradley they are using. But
Okay.
we can't see inside because they're packed in a boxes something.
Right.
So
Right.
and one other like it's a pneumatic system like all this controlation by pneumatic. So
Hmm.
they flow the air and do the operation with the air
Okay. Okay. Okay.
and vibration. They use a
Right.
vibrator to move the parts like raw material to move in the machine and they assemble that all kind of parts with the air and vibration.
Correct. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay. So now let me go through one by one. So, for example, if you are trying to move inside the industrial automation field, or so, first of all, you need to understand some kind of input, output, some kind of power supply units, and some kind of visualization components. Okay. So,
mm-hmm.
uh, first of all, PLC is an electrical component, right? So to make a PLC power on, power supply unit is required, right? So first
Mm-hmm.
is I mentioned is PSU. PSU is a power supply unit. Okay, so
Okay.
right now you are starting industrial automation field, so you need to understand some kind of short word as well as the long word as well, right? So
Yeah.
PSU means power supply unit. Sometimes it is called as SMPS is nothing but a power supply. So
Yeah.
power supply means, for example, PLC is powered on via 24-volt DC. So you require 24-volt DC power supply to power on the PLC. Okay.
Yeah.
Sometimes the PLCs require 230-volt AC power supply to get the power on. Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
in that case, you require 230-volt AC power supply for that. Okay. So
Yeah.
power supply unit means to just power on the PLC, programmable logic controller. Got it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So depending on the characteristics of that PLC, how that PLC need to be power on. So as per that, you can select your power supply unit. Okay.
Yeah.
Now PLC, some kind of switches, physical switches like on off switch, push buttons, like you
Mm-hmm.
mentioned, some kind of sensors. Okay. Some
Yeah.
kind of level switch, pressure switch, right? So this
Yeah.
kind of switches are nothing but the input signals to the PLC. Okay. So that PLC
Yeah.
can understand which signal is coming. For example, if you press the push button, so that means one is going to the PLC. If you release the push button, that means zero is going to be
Zero.
PLC.
Yeah.
Right. So it's a one and zero. So PLC can understand zero and one. Okay. So
Yeah.
on and off switch means zero and one. Push buttons means zero and one.
Zero
Level
and one.
switch.
Yeah.
So level switch means if the tank is there and if your level is high, so level switch will be activated, right? So PLC will
Mm-hmm.
understand, okay, the level is high and that's why the tank is full. So this kind of input types. Last thing is pressure switch. So into your pipeline, any pipeline I'm talking about, it can be a air
Mm-hmm.
pipeline, it can be a water pipeline, it can be a oil pipeline, okay, any media.
Mm-hmm.
In pipeline, if you observe some kind of pressure switch is installed, okay, in that
Mm-hmm.
pipeline, if the flow is or if the pressure is more than some particular bar, for example, if the pressure is more than 2 bar, so pressure switch
Mm-hmm.
will be activated so that PLC can understand, okay, so my signal is going to be 0 to 1, right? So
Yeah.
this is the digital, right? So 0 and 1 is nothing but a digital. So that's why anything which is going to the PLC, it is nothing but an input to PLC. Okay. So this
Yeah.
kind of things is operated by humans or it is operated automatically, but PLC can understand what the signal is. It can be a zero, it can be a one.
Yeah.
So that's why this kind of types is input types. Okay. So now
Okay.
in any of the pipeline, to measure a temperature, it can be a temperature transmitter. To measure a pressure, it can be a pressure transmitter. So up to now, we talk about the 0 and 1 digital signals. But
Mm-hmm.
now transmitters are not a digital, transmitters are analog,
It's analog. Yeah.
right? So temperature is nothing but a something value like 20, 30, 32 degrees centigrade, 40 degrees centigrade. So it's not a digital, it's an analog.
Yeah.
Like pressure is like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 bar, 5 bar, 6 bar, 2 bar, 3
Yeah.
bar. Okay. So like flow, 100 meter cube per hour, 200 meter cube per hour, 1000 meter cube per hour. Like, so this kind of values are there. Level transmitter means your tank is 0% full, your tank is 50% full, your tank is 30% full, right? So this kind of values
Yeah.
or this kind of transmitters can be installed in the different locations. These transmitters also provide input to the PLC so that PLC can understand, okay, my
Yeah.
temperature is this, pressure is this, flow is this, and level is this, right? So that's why it is an analog input. Okay. So PLC can
Yeah.
understand two type of inputs. One is a digital input and
Digital
the
and
other one is an
analog
analog input. Same will be applicable for output types.
output.
Okay. So now, okay. So up to now we understood how PLC will get the signal because it's an input. Now, after programming or to get the signal means after programming or after getting the input signals, PLC need to be operate some kind of valves automatically, some kind of pumps automatically, right? Some kind of
Yeah.
control valves. So PLC can understand, okay, for example, I need PLC need to open one particular valve if the temperature is more than 50 degrees centigrade, right? So if you
Mhm.
return some kind of logic, right, like if the temperature is greater than 50 degrees, so open one particular wall. Okay, so the
Yeah.
PLC is opening that particular wall, so that means PLC is generating the output. Okay,
Mhm.
got the point? So
Yeah.
PLC is going to give the command to that particular wall, so that means PLC is generating the output. Okay, and that's
Yeah.
why PLC is having the output component. So what are the output components? It can be a wall, it can be a pump, it can be a heater, it can be a variable frequency drive, VFD, it can be a
Mhm.
control valve. Okay. So now,
Yeah.
for example, PLC is getting to generate a command to open one particular wall. So that means if the PLC is generating zero, that means wall is closed. If the PLC is generating one, that means wall will be open. Okay. So zero and one,
Yeah.
it can be a digital output. Okay, if I
Yeah.
need to open the if I need to on the pump or start the pump, right? So PLC is generating one output. So
Mhm.
pump can be started.
Yeah.
If the PLC is generating zero output, so pump can be stopped. So
Stop. Yeah.
zero and one, it is a digital output that
Digital
PLC
input.
is generating, right? Same way, digital, same way, analog output is also there, right? Same like
Yeah.
digital output, analog output is also there. So what kind of analog outputs? Like, for example, I need to open the control valve of 30%. So PLC is
Mhm.
generating 30% output. Okay, so it's not a 0 and 1, it's a range like
Yeah.
0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 30, 50, 60, 70, likewise. Okay,
Yeah.
so it's not a 0 and 1, it's an analog. So PLC is generating some kind of analog output like 30%, 40%, and control valve behaves accordingly. So if the PLC is generating 50% output, and so that control valve will open 50%. If the PLC is generating 100% output, so control valve will open fully. That means 100%
Yeah.
open. So if you see, last one is a control valve. Same like digital input and analog input, PLC is having the digital output as well as analog output. Get the
Analog
point?
output. Yeah.
Okay. Now, so but PLC is getting some input, PLC is generating some output. You can program the PLC, but you cannot visualize how you can program. Okay, because
Yeah.
programmer has programmed and downloaded into the PLC and it is installed now. Now it is installed inside the panel. Okay, you cannot see
Yeah.
which kind of
Yeah.
program the programmer has done, right? So for a visualization of that operation, we have a different components like HMI, means human machine interface. So
Yeah.
operator or user can visualize the process from that HMI. Okay, or some kind of
Yeah.
supervisory control and data acquisition system as well, SCADA system.
SCADA.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so SCADA system is nothing but a visualization perspective. Okay, so HMI and SCADA both are operating and monitoring systems, but if you can say that features are, in HMI features is less and in SCADA features are more. Okay,
Yeah.
and there are different perspective to use this kind of two components. In the small scale machines or in the medium scale machines, you can use HMI, but in a process industry or in a big process or in a big kind of project, you need to use a SCADA system, right? Because the features are
Yeah.
more and it will be more reliable. Okay,
Yeah.
so HMI and SCADA is nothing but a visualization, operating and monitoring purpose. Okay, because
Yeah.
user has to control the system from HMI or SCADA. User has to monitor the system, how the system is working, how the operation is working. Okay, for example, a user has to open and close the wall. Okay, so it can be a two button from HMI, open and close. So
Yeah.
User can press the open, so valve will open. So user can control the output or control the operation from the HMI, but user cannot program inside the PLC. Okay, only the
Yeah.
programmer can program the PLC. So it will be a very user friendly component, right, for operators and for users. Correct.
Mm-hmm.
So you
Yeah.
know the basic perspective behind HMI and SCADA, right? Because right now you working as a user, right?
Yeah.
Correct. So HMI and SCADA is very much important. Just the difference is with respect to a features. Okay. So
Features. Yeah.
we'll talk about the features later on when we talk about the HMI and SCADA in a deeply manner. Okay. Now,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
yes. So these are the components we have, means I have explained you. But now what we'll do, we'll understand power supply unit. Okay. So what
Mm-hmm.
kind of power supplies are available, and means what kind of things are there inside the power supply. So this is the diagrams I have created, and if you see, there are two types of input power are used in our industry. First is a three-phase power supply, and another
One
is a
single phase.
single-phase power supply, right?
Yeah.
So in a three-phase, it can be a RYB, neutral and earthing. Okay.
Earthing.
In a single phase, uh, R, neutral and earthing,
Earthing.
right? So any of the power supply, the input can be of two types, three phase or single phase.
Single phase. Yeah.
Accordingly, three phase and single phase. So for example, yeah, see, just created some kind of examples over here. So what can be a voltage between R and Y, 440 volt. So three phase means 440 volt and single
Mm-hmm.
phase means 230 volt. Okay. So
Yeah.
440 means if you measure R and in between R and Y, it can be a 440. If you measure
Mm-hmm.
in between R and neutral, it can be a 230. So it's a very
Yeah.
self-explanatory, so no need to deep dive into it. So voltage between R and Y is 440. Voltage between R and B is 440. For 230, voltage between R and neutral is 230. Okay. So it's
Yeah.
straightforward. No need to, deep dive into it much more.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, but this diagram is important for a fresher or for a initial stage of your career, right? So how
Mm-hmm.
power supply will generate the DC power supply? Because three 440 three phase or 230 single phase is a AC power supply. Okay. So what
Yeah.
power supply unit will do? Power supply unit will convert your AC to DC. Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
anything if you input AC, it will be converted into DC. So DC will be a
Yeah.
24 volt DC, right? So
Yeah.
okay, so generally some kind of PLC is having the requirement of DC power supply. Okay, generally it can
Okay.
be a DC power supply PLC is required. Okay,
So it's
so
all PLCs like 24 volt, right?
not
DC.
all, not all. It depends how you select your model. Okay,
Okay.
right? Not all. So for example, if you select the model of the PLC which requires only 230 AC volt, so you
Okay.
are not required for a PSU, right?
Yeah. But
PSU is just, yeah.
if a DC volt, then a DC volt should be 24 volt, like in a major
Correct. Correct.
PLCs, right?
Generally, yeah. In everywhere DC means 24 volt. Okay.
Okay.
Right. So you require a power supply unit for this conversion. Three phase to single phase or means single phase to
Uh,
DC. Okay. Means
Okay.
AC to
Like this
DC.
power supply unit means is just a rectifier, right?
Is a
It's rectify analog. It's a rectifier, like convert
uh,
analog to
not kind of rectifier.
digital
It's a
signal.
converter actually. It's a converter.
Okay.
It's a converter. It is converting single phase AC to DC. That's it.
DC.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So at the left hand side, it is a 230 volt DC, and at the right hand side is a 0 to 24 volt DC.
24.
So
Yeah.
this right hand side signals you can connect to the PLC power. so that your PLC will get powered on. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, see, this is the common PLC architecture. Okay. So now, as
Okay.
I explained you, up to now, what I have explained two things. One is input and one is output, right? So left hand part,
Yeah.
I have explained what kind of inputs. It can be a digital or analog. Same
Yeah.
kind, what kind of outputs. It can be a digital or analog. Okay. But
Yeah.
to program, you require a memory. Okay. So, in the industrial automation, PLC is sometimes called as a CPU.
Yeah.
Okay. So to write a program, okay, you require a memory. So PLC is having a memory as well. PLC is having the power supply unit as well. And PLC is
Mm-hmm.
having the programming unit as well, right? To program a PLC, you require a programming unit or a laptop or a software, right?
Yeah.
But to download that program into the PLC, you require a PLC memory. That's why
Memory.
in
Yeah.
this architecture, I have inserted input, output, power unit, memory, and programming unit.
Yeah.
Okay. So input, output, we understood. Power unit to get the power on the PLC. Important. CPU means sometimes CPU and PLCs, these two words are used interchangeably. Okay. In our industry, whatever
Mm-hmm.
is the program you have written inside your programming unit or laptop, that can be downloaded into the program memory, right? So that's why
Yeah.
memory is important. Okay. So in any
Okay.
CPU or in any PLC, okay. So whenever I talk CPU or whenever I speak a PLC, okay, it can be
Mm-hmm.
both. It can be a same. Okay. Both can be a same,
Yeah.
right? So PLC is having the memory, your program can be downloaded into that memory so that PLC can work, otherwise not. Okay. So the memory
Yeah.
is important, right? So because you are starting your career in the industrial automation, so you require some basic kind of stuffs. So that's why I'm explaining why the memory is important, because whenever we go further in this training, there are two kind of memory that we'll discuss later. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah. So this is the basic PLC architecture that should be in your mind. Okay. Input, output, memory, power unit, and programming unit. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. So first one is a power supply that we already discussed. Second one is a memory. Okay. So power supply we discussed. Power supply can
Mm-hmm.
be three phase, single phase, and 24 volt. It is just a converting. That's it. Now,
Yeah.
second one is a memory. Okay. So,
Mm-hmm.
what is memory actually, right? When you create a program and you download into the PLC, okay? So it will be
Mm-hmm.
going into the program memory, right? Because it is a code.
Yeah.
So it is going to be a program memory. So that's why I told you there are two types of memory. First is a program memory. It can be sometimes called as a work memory. It can be sometimes called as a code memory.
Yeah.
Okay. So whenever someone talk about program memory, so it is nothing but a work memory. Whenever
Mm-hmm.
someone talk about work memory, it is nothing but a code memory, right? So program memory,
Yeah.
work memory, code memory, all are same, right? So whatever is the program you written, it can be downloaded into program memory. Okay, code memory, work
Yeah.
memory, right? Now the
Yeah.
another type of memory is a data memory. Sometimes it is called as a load memory, data memory or
Okay.
load memory. Okay. So assume that you are creating a variable like temperature set point, 50-degree set
Mm-hmm.
point.